Hey everybody, it's Kimberly. Hello, hello. Good Thursday morning. I came out here today um, with a lot of things. I'm very, very fortunate that I get to work for a women's empowerment company, first and foremost. It is lovely to be in an environment that is really about working hard to make sure that women feel empowered and loved, right? It's a huge blessing because there are so many messages out there that aren't about empowerment and love. And I wanted to come and talk today. I was in San Diego, gosh, maybe 2 weeks ago now. Oh, 2 weeks ago, well, week and a half, right? And part of what I got to do is go on stage and talk about my compelling story. And I really shared a lot about my story in terms of my divorce and the mental health aspects that followed that. Hey, Jen. But as a result of these last couple of weeks, a lot of the conversations I've been having with women on the side was this, and experiences in my own life, right? I mean, we draw from our own experiences, was really this legacy of the fat girl. And so I wanted to kind of come on, and I know that sounds like a little, that's an interesting topic, right? Because it really is my own story of the legacy of being a fat girl and how that has affected me as an adult. So I've always been overweight, and I've always struggled with my weight my whole entire life. And it wasn't easy when I was a kid. When I was a kid in the 80s, there was no fat acceptance. It was all body shaming. I was teased, harassed. Didn't have boyfriends. I definitely was the girl that you'd mess around with in the back, but you certainly wouldn't date. Never got asked to prom. Never experienced all these normal kind of typical dating, courting rituals as a teenager. I instead decided to be angry, right? And I treasured my friendships and adopted a lot of walls and armor as a way to protect myself. People throwing rocks at me in school. I remember sitting there every day in gym. We'd be sitting outside on these numbers, and the girl behind me would just tease me mercilessly, and she'd throw rocks at me every day in gym class, right? I'd be wearing my jeans underneath my sweats because I didn't want to dress down, because in the locker room, she would come and harass me. Hey, Tommy. So these were the early adoptions of self-acceptance and confidence. I didn't have the confidence, but I had anger, right? And so that was enough. And I was told I was ugly, and I was fat, and I've been called every name in the book. And as I grew older, still struggling with my weight, and it got worse, and my body deteriorated, and my health went to shit. And in 2001, I was one of the early adopters of the Kaiser program to have gastric bypass surgery. And I lost a lot of weight, and I got pregnant. And even when I had met my husband, we were friends first, and he had a lot of issues with my weight. And it was a huge barrier for us for a year. He was very thin and athletic, and really wanted a partner to be able to explore those things in life with him. And I was not. I was 315 pounds, and I couldn't bend over to tie my own shoes. It was not a cute look. And I was sick, and I didn't care about myself, and I had no confidence, and I had no value. I had really immersed all of these values that I lacked in, and I focused solely on the weight. And I thought, once I lose this weight, my problems are going to disappear, and it's going to be a fairy tale and a fantasy. Well, guess what? I lost the weight, but what I was left with was confusion and anger. And this is why, for instance, the divorce rate is very high for people who have had a gastric bypass surgery, because once you start to take off the layers of the hurt and the abandonment and the ridicule that most obese people have faced in their life, the ostracization, the judgment. I can't tell you how many times I've pushed a grocery cart with a lot of stern looks, right? So the weight came off and a lot of therapy began for me. And I was very fortunate enough. I found an amazing therapist who specialized in body disorders, body dysmorphic disorders, and was able to work through a lot of that. A lot of it, but not all of it, because none of us are perfect. Hi, Elena. None of us are perfect. We all have our shit. We all have our baggage. We all have that stuff from childhood that likes to pop up in our adult lives and ruin everything, right? But what I see a lot of, and my journey and my struggle with my weight will be a constant journey for me. Right? This is my legacy in life. And it is my, everybody's got a cross to bear, right? And this is one of them for me. But what I've really come to realize in talking with other women is how much our body issues affect us as women in our interpersonal relationships, and especially in our sexualities and confidence. And it makes me sad. It makes me sad for myself when I see how harshly I judge myself because my body doesn't fit into this mold, right? And what that does, and it affects the way that I interact with potential partners, right? I've been single for a long time, and as I'm now starting to date again, it's becoming very apparent to me that I'm still really massively insecure about my body, right? All those conditionings come back. They pop up. Once we're introduced to those situations that trigger us, they pop back up, and nobody's perfect and nobody's exempt, right? Not even me. Not even the coach of coaches. Not even me. So I've had these conversations recently with women, and what I'm hearing especially is a lot of shame. And a lot of that shame has to do with prior sexual assaults, rapes, inappropriate sexual relationships. Lots of shame for women around their bodies, and especially how that ties into the bedroom, where there's a lot of women struggling to feel free and entitled to enjoy themselves. And I know I personally struggled with that. I felt like I had to be a certain size to be able to enjoy sex, right? And a lot of women feel that way. A lot of women feel that they have to envelop a personality or persona to be able to enjoy their bodies. They are told that they're dirty. They are told that maybe if they've been through an assault, it was their fault. They were to blame. Women are told that we dress too slutty. Women are told that we ask for it. Women are, a lot of different social conditionings, religious upbringings or cultural backgrounds that really, really show up in shame for women. And we don't really understand that it's happening when it's happening. But we see all these really silent cues in our day-to-day lives that tell us we're not enough. And God forbid if you're a fat girl, not only are you not enough, but you're going to be paying way too much for your clothing because you can't just walk into a store and buy things. Again, things are getting a lot better as this body acceptance movement comes in, and I'm so grateful for this generation that's coming up that are really breaking stereotypes. But maybe, in life we have the people that mirror our parts of ourselves into us. And I decided that I was going to have a pure romance party, and I put it out there partly because I really wanted to create a space for women that was going to be completely accepting and have a little girl power around that. And anybody who's struggling with their weight, I wanted to give them validity, that it is okay to enjoy and accept and love their body for what it is in this moment. As I am going through a lot of work around self-acceptance and integration of that, to just understand that my body is a vehicle and it's not something I'm supposed to be beating myself up about on a daily basis. I wanted to create a space for women to also experience that and have real conversations about this, right? Because if I was to bring everybody in a room together that I've had, one-on-one conversations with, even in the last 3 weeks, it would fill my house. And the themes are so similar. We are all going through this. We all think that we're kind of alone and isolated, or that these feelings are shameful and we can't talk about them because no one else would understand. And what I wanted to do is come on here and say, girl, I hear you. Girl, I understand what you're going through. I feel it. And I want you to know that you're not alone. And for the men that are listening, you have an amazing opportunity to play the part in the transformation of the women in your life, women's in your lives, to be able to help them feel beautiful and sexy and empowered. We go through a lot every day, clutching our keys and making sure that, you know, we have a safety buffer around us, right? Going to a club to go dance because you just want to go dance, and yet you're having somebody grind up on you and you're like, oh, I did not ask for this. Right? Talking about female ejaculations. Oh, God forbid, right? That women have bodies that can create all these moments of pleasure. And I hope that you, ladies, understand that you're worth all of it. Just as I tell myself, my dear little fat girl, it's okay to love yourself too. So let's let go of the shame. Let's start having real conversations about our bodies, about our sexuality, sensuality, confidence, acceptance, and self-love. So, ladies and gents, I'm out of here because I'm going to go have some lunch. Speaking of getting fat, lunch and carbs. Let's all love each other and support each other. That's right, Sky. Women's bodies are beautiful in all shapes and sizes. Can I get an amen? All right. Fat or thin, have a great day. Love you guys all. You guys are the best. I'll see you later. Bye, everyone.